In this video, I want to cover Google Services Authorization for App Engine using the Google Cloud tools. And what I've got is an App Engine app, and I want to give it authorization access to the Cloud Spanner service in my web app. So to get going, I've already have the cloud tools installed, and I won't cover that in this video. That's in a previous video. But I want to show what GCloud Init and how that affects my app development. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy this command, GCloud Init. I'm going to go to the terminal, paste it, and run it. So I've already ran this once, so it should come back with the default settings, and it has. So I've already set up a project in my cloud console, and its project ID is Donaldson 53958. So I've selected that, but let's say I wanted to switch project context. I could do it a couple different ways, but I'll show you just the reinitialization path. And I'm going to select one to reinitialize the context. So I'm going to select my default email, and then it gives me a project list of all my project IDs that I have in the cloud console that I've authorization to edit. So I'm going to go ahead and select number 2 again. In the future video with Cloud Spanner, I'm going to actually select number 1, but let's select number 2. So I've reinitialized my default credentials that will be used to authorize the services against the Cloud Console. And I'm not going to show you how all those paths work. I just wanted to concentrate on GCloud Init. So let's see how that affects my application development. So let's say I have a simple application. I'll just close what I was debugging before. And I have a web servlet that's called users. And in this users, I have a simple spanner read test. And this is the Cloud Spanner. It's like a SQL database. So I'm going to call select one or query select one. So to do that, I define the database, but you can see I don't have credentials defined here. That's wired up in the application development life cycle that's behind the scenes. So let's just start the app debugging process. I'm going to go run hello servlet. And like I said, I'll show this in the next video a little bit more how to wire this up. I just have some boilerplate wiring to get set up. And I have localhost 8080. So let's just check localhost 8080. Okay, so that's root. I want to go to the users because I set up the users, and it takes a moment to initialize the first requests off to Cloud Spanner. And once it comes back, there it is, select one. So I know my authentication process worked, but what happens if the authentication or authorization process fails? So let's just switch the context that I'm working in, or the default settings, and I'll reinitialize the cloud again by calling GCloud Init. And once it comes back, I'll select one again and my default email. And I'm going to select a different project this time, project context. And you can do multiple configurations, and I'm not covering that this talk, maybe in a future talk, so keep your eyes peeled. So let's go back to the browser and just refresh. All right, you can see that the database was not found on the API project. So you can see that the GCloud Init actually affects my App Engine Flex development. So let's just review quickly what I just covered. So let's go to the Cloud SDK. So once I've installed the cloud tools, I call GCloud Init, and this initially runs and asks you to set up a project or select a project when you install it on the computer. And when I went to the terminal, I was allowed to select from a default all my project IDs from a list to select the default project. And this sets up the authentication scheme behind the scene. So once that's done, now I can go and develop without having to specify or hard code credentials in my application development. It's set up behind the scenes, which is great because I don't actually have to save a password somewhere. It's saved using the OAuth token. And I'm not going to cover that in detail, but now I'm free to develop without having to hard code credentials into my application. And I'm going to go ahead and cover some of the Cloud Spanner features in a future video. So if you want to stay tuned, follow me for more. So this concludes this video today. Thanks for watching, and follow me for more tips and tricks on the cloud, and I'll catch you later.